if you've been following the saga of Transport Evolved's staff fleet, and I know some people get really upset when we use the term staff fleet, because that implies that they're cars owned by Transport Evolved. I guess 2 of them are, but the rest are owned by people who work or contribute to Transport Evolved. You'll know that so far we've had kind of a menagerie of different vehicles over the years. Classic cars, we've had early electric cars, we've had weird electric cars. And between us, I think we've probably owned about 20 different electric cars between all of the people who regularly contribute to Transport Evolved or produce Transport Evolved. And you'll notice that I've got a mask on, which is unusual. And I only have a mask on when there's someone else here.
Who could that be?
Who could that be? Hi, Erin. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
So let's get a bit closer. We do have our masks on. We're following, you know, proper CDC guidelines and everything. Now, Erin, you had your car stolen.
Yeah. So
tell us about that.
If you've been following, you would, know that I had my car stolen last month, around the 19th, possibly in broad daylight. No one saw. And it was a 1992 Honda Accord, one of the, most stolen cars in America. So.
And you did a video, oh goodness, it was more than a year ago now.
Yeah,
you did a video in which you were talking about...
I checked, it was actually September 2019.
Really?
Yes, it was.
So it was September 2019. Erin had started having a conversation with me about, I'd like to get a new car, and I'm thinking maybe a hybrid car would be a good option. And of course, for just life got in the way, COVID and everything else. Yeah. And Erin, being a responsible person that she is, decided that it wasn't the right time to buy a new car because...
I wasn't driving to work, and I figured I didn't want to be making payments on a car that I wasn't actually using. Right. And I'd rather be saving that towards getting maybe a nicer car or something like that, something a bit newer, so on and so forth. So what happened was Erin's car got stolen, which left you without a car. Yeah. You were really distraught because Rutherford was your first. That was my first car. I didn't get any help buying that car really monetarily wise. I bought that with the money that I made with my first job. I scraped it all together and I bought it. I worked at a retail store, so a retail store. That's probably the best way of putting it. And not to give free advertising. Yeah, free advertising. And you didn't really enjoy working there either. So. Not the worst one I've done, but certainly not the best. So after your car was stolen, you got a call a couple of days later saying it's been found? Yeah, and then, I was expecting the worst because they said it was not drivable. And while the damage wasn't as bad as it could have been, the insurance company looked at the damage that was done and how much the car was worth and just decided to pay out. And so you had a car, obviously, that was written off. Yep. And then once the insurance company said, sorry, it's not worth repairing it. Yep. You did a GoFundMe expecting friends and family really to chip in. I mean, that's what I've had in the past and I've seen in the past is like, maybe a few $100s, but then, you guys came out in droves and I'm still just like taken aback by how amazing and generous you guys are. So thank you so much. We kept it kind of low key originally. Erin, we made an announcement on Twitter. I made an announcement on Twitter from the Transport Evolved account going, hey, if you see this car, this is when it was still stolen and we didn't know what happened to it. And then on that Friday's 10, we went, hey, Erin set up a crowdfunding campaign. It's completely independent from Transport Evolved. I just want to underscore that. I put it in the description as well, just to be clear. It was completely, independent of Transport Evolved, but Transport Evolved fans came through. I think that's the end. My gosh, yes. And they helped you raise a sizable chunk of money. $11,000. So thank you to every single person who did that. That was way over my goal. Blown away. Because of you guys, I was able to get something nicer and newer. So you toyed with hybrids. Yeah, I was looking around. When I had really low expectations, I was thinking like a Prius or something like that. And I know it's not the most exciting car, and it's got kind of a reputation. Right. And while it was an option, it was one that I did not go with.
And a lot of people said, hey, a lot of people said Erin should get a Tesla Model 3.
My neighbors do have a Tesla, but I think
they do.
Yeah, I have a neighbor that has a Tesla, actually. Got it like maybe a few months ago.
Right.
But, I live in rentals still. I don't know when I'm going to be able to install a charger, safely in my own home.
Right.
So.
And just to kind of reiterate here, while the majority of the Transport Evolved team are now well out of university, Erin is a recent graduate.
Yeah.
And she's still in her 20s. And
Yeah.
if you think back to when you were in your 20s, how many of you could have afforded to have put down $30,000 or $40,000 on a car? And that's what, used Model 3s are still up into the 20s and 30s.
I mean, they're becoming more affordable, but it's still a bit out of my range.
Being able to charge at home was still a bit of a challenge. And while in some places, if you live in a multifamily dwelling, for example, they have to, in a lot of places, help you install charging infrastructure. It's less when you're in the private rental market, which is what you're in.
Yeah.
And so I guess it's time to show everybody what you got. I think most people can probably guess.
Yeah, it was my first option anyway, and here we are. La la.
So tell us about.
It is a 2016 Volt Premier, actually. I got it from a used car lot. You'll probably see the tags and know, but I'm not going to give them any free advertisement. But it's got 52,000 miles on it. And for some reason, here's the funny thing about it. It was on their website for I don't know how long, and it had like a ton of saves on it, and I didn't know why. So I went and checked it out just in case. And I guess what happened was there was actually a website glitch that kept people from reserving it. So I got incredibly lucky with this one because this is the only 2016 in the area.
And it's not just a 2016 Volt, it's a Premier, isn't it?
It is a Premier,
give us a bit of a tour.
So we have the gas, which hopefully I won't be using that much.
How much did you use coming over today? Because you said you didn't...
Half a gallon, if that.
You didn't get to charge last night.
No.
You didn't... Because your roommates, I assume, had blocked up the driveway and you couldn't get to a plug?
Yeah, we have 4 cars total just because there's 4 people in the house and we all have cars and we all have work to do. So, but I didn't manage to charge it last night, and because I'm still a little bit of a distance away from Nikki.
It's about 40 miles, I think.
It's about 40 miles.
Yeah.
And I mean, if I did get it charged, I could do full electric. But I drove really efficiently on gas just so I could hold on to what charge I did have. And I still did I think maybe 0.3
of a gallon?
Yeah, something like that. I'm still getting I think almost as good as a Prius as far as hybrid.
And
combined.
the EPA, obviously the EPA estimate for this car says only 35 miles per gallon. But you're not a racer. No,
it does have a few modes on this. So if you know about the Volt, you'll know that it has 4 modes. It has your normal, it has your mountain, it has your sport, and then it also has the hold, which is where you turn to gas only.
Yeah, and it keeps the range. The mountain, of course, stops the battery from being quite as heavily discharged. So you've got use in the future.
But here, I'll take this little drive out, and then you can kind of take a peek-see in.
All right. So tell me about the purchase experience. You're going to make a video about this later, but...
Yes. So it was actually relatively easy because of the car lot that I went through. It was really easy. They're, a no haggle lot. And you know what? Like I said, for the price that this was, it was totally worth it. It was only $15,000. Just under 15,000, and that's for a Premier that's in really great shape, and it's the model year that I want, which is a 2016. Now, according to, here, I'll put this back down. According to...
just so people know, that's a hard drive that we need for Transport Evolved. We're doing some private work for a client at the moment, and there's over 2 terabytes of storage that are files that have to go from my house to Erin's house. And if you look right up on the roof there, that is our internet connection. It is not Starlink.
No.
And so it's easier to do, I suppose, EVNet now.
Yeah, there we go.
So the experience was so then?
It was
you didn't
okay.
feel pressured or anything?
The only thing I felt pressured on was the extended warranties, but that's pretty normal with a lot of dealerships and stuff like that. I unfortunately did not educate myself well enough, but I did have someone there with me to aid me.
Cool.
In other words, my dad came with me because, sexism.
Right. I'm going to meet you around the other side because I know we've got radio packs on, and
Yes.
sometimes our radio packs don't like going long distances, so we'll come around to the front with the chickens who've come out to say hi.
But we got it plugged in right now so I can do hopefully as much electric on the way back as possible.
And eventually I think we're going to try and find you one of those modular charging stations that can do 240 or 110, and you just plug it in and it figures it out and the car charges as much as it possibly can.
Yeah, that would be great.
But you can charge it up overnight, right? If you give it 12 hours, you can charge up overnight.
Oh yeah, it gives me, it'll give me an estimate and stuff like that. I can change it from, 8 or 12, as far as the speed goes, and et cetera, et cetera.
And in terms of, were you put off by kind of any negative stories of the Bolt or anything else?
The Consumer Reports, I had heard a little bit about the 2017s. Now, because of what's happening right now, the leases on the 2017s are all ending right now.
Right.
Because it's their 3-year lease, so they're coming off of them. And so the market right now is flooded with 2017s. Now, something I've heard about them is that they have electronic problems. Where they will actually stop in the middle of the road while driving.
Right.
I can't remember exactly what the error code is, so we'll have to look at it later. Sorry, I should have looked at that beforehand. But I had heard some nasty rumors from Consumer Reports. And I was heavily advised against getting one. And I've heard similar problems about the 2018s, and there's still not a lot of those. I did find a 2019 in the area, but it was an LT, which is not as nice, and it was way more expensive. So.
Right. So with the Premier, you get heated seats.
You get heated seats front and back.
Yep.
You get lovely glowing trim, which is totally not necessary.
Oh, you get the same glowing trim that my wife has in her Bolt.
Oh, she's got one.
My Bolt trim. My Bolt, the red one behind, is an LT. And it doesn't have the glowing trim, but my wife's Bolt, which is the one in front, was one we purchased last year. And it has the same glowing trim and heated seats front and rear.
It's got it gets it under here, but it's got it right here as well.
And right on this bit here?
Yep. It looks really cool at night. You can't see it, of course, during the day, but
and which is an aesthetic that I'm sure you like.
It's just so fun. It looks, it's amazing going from a car that was 28 years old and going to something that's 4 years old.
So do you have any concerns about the car, based on your experience with it thus far? I mean, it's like initial niggles or things you wish were different. Or...
as the one thing that I will say about my old car that I really liked was it had almost no blind spots.
Right.
I mean, that car was it was almost like being in a glass dome. This guy kind of right here is like a huge blind spot, but the best part about that is it does have lane keep assistance. So it will tell me if there is someone coming up behind me.
Which is something that the Bolt does have lane keep assistance, but it doesn't have the radar assisted cruise control, which I think you do have on
Yes,
this
it
one.
does. It also has, I haven't had the opportunity to try it out, but it does have a self-parking feature.
That is insane.
It is crazy. That is something that I had no idea until I purchased this car, and I actually saw the button and I was like, what is that? And I looked it up, I'm like, are you kidding me? This thing can park itself?
Which is kind of bizarre because we had a Toyota Prius. I just realized my accent's been wandering all over, and someone's going to say that I sound really American, but you know what? I'm a vocal chameleon. So I think our first Prius, which was a 2007 Prius, had self-park.
Yeah.
And then we had another Prius that had self-park as well. So it's still not a feature that's really caught on. And I suppose that shows that most people don't really care about these semi-autonomous features.
Yeah.
Let's take a look in the boot or the trunk, whichever way you want to do it.
There we go. Just
All
got
right,
the charger that comes with it.
You got the charger and the cargo net,
Yep.
which is nice. It's a shame they didn't give you the
Yeah, they
net.
didn't give me the privacy. They didn't give me the privacy
and I can tell you
screen. Why?
It's because just like the bolt, these little things here have popped out. And if anybody's wondering why my hands are blue, it's because they've got blue coat on because one of my chickens got hurt earlier this week. The rooster was nasty to her. And so I had to spray her it's like an antibacterial thing and it kind of stains your fingers and your hands. So this one and that one are missing, but that one and that one. And they just literally pop out. You kind of twist them and they pop out that way, I think. You have to twist it that way and they pop out. You can buy replacement ones.
How much are they?
Not very much.
Okay, because I was going to say, it is still technically under their warranty.
You should tell them, hey, there's 2 of these missing.
Yeah.
And then maybe you can then get the cargo
There we go.
But that's a lot better than the original Volt, because I obviously had an original Volt, and it didn't seat 5. But in the rear here, this 5th seat is not a real seat.
It's not actually a seat.
Let's go.
It's
here, so you can see it.
Yeah, it's not a real seat. It's more of a kind of here. You can like pull this kind of middle part down.
Let's go.
Okay. You can kind of pull this middle part down. It's a little divider kind of guy, and it's more like an armrest than anything.
Right.
So it's just kind of this strange little like spot where there's just kind of nothing. But I mean, it's good since, I guess if you have like, you want to put something in the back and you can still have that space. But unfortunately, you just, can't seat 5 people, but I don't usually have 5 people in my car.
I think it's one of those ones where they go, you could put a 5th person in there. Technically, there's a seat belt, but it would be a bit uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Maybe if it was a very small person or a
probably
someone 4 foot, 5 foot even.
Probably finagle it some way.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah. Oh, and one other thing, just because it's fun, aluminum.
Aluminium, dear.
Oh, sorry. Aluminium.
The Bare Naked Ladies made a song about that. Aluminium to some. Sorry, aluminum to some, aluminium to others. I can't remember the song, but I know it was about aluminium. So there you go. That is the new car. Does it have a name yet?
No, I'm still thinking. It is still something I'm thinking about. And on top of that, I'm still trying to get OnStar on here. I think if you have a GM vehicle, you probably know how difficult it is to actually get one of the EVs or our EV hybrid,
Yeah, you have to ring them up and then sit there while they go through the process. And once you've done it, you've done it. And generally it'll work.
It's just so funny because I did call them a little bit ago and they're like, did you uninstall and reinstall the app yet? And I was like,
it's got nothing to do with the app. They have to associate it with your account from within the car. It's a bit weird.
It's very silly.
It is very strange, but hopefully, I think you have to manually go on the website and enter in the VIN number, do it on the website, and then you have to call them, then you can go into the app and associate it, and it does take a while. I know that when we bought both of the Bolts, we had the same kind of problems. Interestingly, the Volt in the UK, or the Ampera, didn't have OnStar because OnStar wasn't over there, so it wasn't available.
That is something I actually saw when I was doing research on this car.
So there you go. I think our chickens are trying to drop hints that they want more food. They collect at the front door when they want food. And Erin's here and she's fed them. And so now they are wanting more food.
I'm a bird fan.
There you go. You are now a member of the plug-in fleet.
Woo!
Congratulations. Your daily mileage is nowhere ever going to be more than the 50 miles on an average basis.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It says below like it's lifetime, which is 49, but on the way up here is like 55.
55 miles per gallon equivalent.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. That's pretty darned cool. And of course, I know a lot of people will be like, oh, you're still burning gasoline. But this is about small steps. And, if someone like Erin can get a plug-in hybrid and use it in electric mode 95% of the time.
I mean, since I have gotten this vehicle, coming out to Nikki's was the first time that I actually used gasoline.
There you go.
I used electric the rest of the time.
So we're trying to figure out how far away I am. How far was it to the office, the old office?
That was 25, I think, about maybe 26.
All right, so I'm another 15 miles out from there.
Yeah, so you're about, let's see, I think it was about 30 something last time I checked.
Yeah.
I usually do it time-wise, but mileage is much more important.
But it's definitely possible for you to get, get all the way.
If I get like a full charge, then I could definitely scoot out here.
And the nice thing about a lot of the local malls. Obviously, we're in the Greater Portland area. You live in the Greater Portland area.
Yeah,
I think it's probably fair to call it that.
I mean,
I don't think Washingtonians like to call it that, but
I mean, I've heard it called like Portland suburb plenty of times.
Portland metro area, suburb area, whatever.
Yeah.
There are lots of mini malls and there are lots of strip malls, and a lot of them now have charging stations, right?
Since I have lived in that city and since I have started looking for, chargers and stuff like that, I have noticed like a dramatic increase of free or low cost chargers popping up. The malls, strip malls, Target. There's a Target location that actually just got an Electrify America.
Yep.
Really close to the mall as well. So they're getting a lot more chargers in those densely populated areas.
Of course, the challenge for you is that you can't use the Electrify America because they're all fast chargers.
Yeah, so that kind of stinks.
But from an electric vehicle point of view, I know lots of people get very upset when plug-in hybrids are plugged in at electric vehicle charging spaces. So it's swings and roundabouts. And roundabouts. Anyway, congratulations and thank you to everybody who has supported you.
Yeah, it's, like I said, the amount of support was overwhelming and I am just so blown away.
There was one person in particular, I'm not going to name them. I know they watch the channel.
One of our Patreon supporters.
One of our Patreon supporters donated about half of that.
Yes.
And I think you've got something special planned.
Yes, there's some other kind of wrinkles I need to iron out, but I do have something in store, so.
Right, great. Finally, tell people about your mask.
Oh, I make it.
People always ask you about that.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I make my own masks.
I do too. This one here that I'm wearing here is a custom mask that I got from Berry Meat. But yours you made yourself with the spikes and everything else.
It's a 2019 Joann's cotton print. It's double-sided though, and then it's got a filter actually as well. And then the spikes are actually from a 2017 or 2018 Target Halloween decoration.
All things.
They were sticky spikes that for some reason, even though they had sticky backings, also had holes through them. And I got 3 packages for super cheap, at least under $5, because they were on sale. So I've got a ton of spikes, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna have to use these at some point. And, lo and behold, coronavirus. And now I got a mask with spikes.
Yay! And people keep asking about the t-shirts. You have been very busy with other things.
Yes.
So we're going to try and shove some of the old designs over to the new store.
Yes.
Like the plugs. A lot of people want the plug design.
Ah, yes.
There are some designs that we're not going to transfer over because of potential copyright issues. Do you want to...
We had conversations with one of the representatives from the company, and they heavily advised us to not include designs that have branding of other companies, like heavy branding.
Right.
While there is such a thing as parody, law and things like that, unfortunately, a lot of these companies have to cover their own butts by preemptively doing these takedowns.
And so there is one, I know the one we talked about with the DeLorean and the Tesla Powerball.
That one they're really iffy on.
I think we're going to be able to modify that artwork. But right now you're busy on a project for a private paying client.
Yes, the same one with the drive.
So you're not going to be doing any t-shirt designs for a while, but there are some which you will roll out in the future. I know people keep asking.
Since the plug ones are still kind of, waiting in the wings, so to speak, I will start rolling those ones out a bit more quickly.
Yeah. So, but you're not going to be doing that much in the way of videos for us until the new year. That's probably the way of putting it. And just as a side, I know a lot of people are worried about, oh, you do other stuff. And yeah, we do sometimes do other stuff for companies in adjacent sectors.
Yes,
so that's a good way of putting it.
it.
And the reason we do it in adjacent sectors is because and I just want to make it super clear, we don't make any money from companies that we cover. And if we ever do get to a point where we cover a company or we have a connection to a company, we will state it, even to the point of someone on our team now owns a Chevrolet Volt. If we ever talk about the Chevrolet Volt and someone on the team owns one, I make it well known that I own a Bolt, and that's the way we do it.
Yep.
just to be full disclaimers and make sure that we've got the journalistic integrity.
Yes.
But the private work we're doing at the moment for a client, basically, I've been putting in way too many hours. You've been putting in way too many hours. It's a fun project. It's in an adjacent sphere, but
we just want to make sure it's a quality product. You know?
So that's why the t-shirts and stuff have been held up a bit. Anyway, that's really all there is to say. Yeah. Congratulations, Erin. I would give you a congratulatory hug.
Here, do the little elbow thing.
Hey, I'd give you a congratulatory hug, but we're not allowed to because COVID. Yeah. So thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Thanks to the amazing people who are scrolling by on our right now. They are our Charged Up patrons. Thank you to everybody else, our $50 a month and our $100 a month patrons. You know who you are. You absolutely rock. Thank you for allowing us to continue to bring you great content. And I'll be back tomorrow with more fantastic content. This week's going to be a bit weird because you've got some fun, different videos, and this is the first one you're going to see. So, yeah, I'll be back soon. Keep evolving.